This Wednesday at 9 on CBS.
Coming up, a community honors a hero as Floyd County says goodbye to K9 Drago.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News at 11.
Good evening, I'm Steve Hensley. The Floyd County community is closing out a week of hard moments, remembering the service of the 4th officer killed as a result of last Thursday's barricade situation in the Allen community. Tonight, they said their goodbyes to the Floyd County Sheriff's Department's K9 deputy, Draco. WYMT's Buddy Forbes shares what many called an emotional night.
Man's best friend, protector, fallen hero.
Units, K9 Drago has answered the highest call. K9 Drago has answered the final call.
This has been a great tragedy. It's a family member for them. They've lost their family.
Floyd County's nationally recognized K9 deputy Draco
Drago had something that went beyond courage.
has taken off his vest for the last time.
Countless nights after a long shift of coming home, I would bring him, get him out of the cruiser and into the house. And before I would take my own gear off, I would take his stuff off. He would light up with excitement, knowing that the vest was coming off. He had a few hours just to be a dog.
Killed in the line of duty last week, his community came together Friday to remember the fallen K9.
But my favorite thing about Drago is that he made sure I made it home to my little girls every night. And I can never repay him for that.
And how he always came running.
I think he's a good example of what a human should be. I thought he was a perfect example of what a dog should be.
With fierce love and a dedicated heart.
It's the simple things that us as humans, we take for granted, but Drago never did.
Unleashing a legacy like no other.
Rest in peace, K9 Drago.
In Prestonsburg, Buddy Forbes, WYMT Mountain News.
The first K9 officer to pay respects to Drago tonight was a pup who was his brother from a different litter.
Well, our showers and storms continue to push out of the region as we head through the remainder of tonight, but we're not quite done yet with the possibility for showers and storms. I-64 at Moorhead, you'll notice we are dealing with some fog starting to develop there kind of in the distance, if you can see that. London Corbin Airport, it's all drying off at least after a rather soggy afternoon for some. Upper 80s, low 90s is where we got before the storms moved in this afternoon, so it was another toasty day. We've been in the low to mid 70s as we've gone throughout the late afternoon and into the evening hours after those storms move through. Now, our severe weather outlook has been scaled back considerably. Most of us not even in that severe weather risk anymore. Just a few of our southern communities in the level 1 marginal risk, that darker green you see on the southern part of the map. We're all dry right now around the mountains, but look off to the west. We're going to have to keep an eye on the potential for more showers and storms developing and mainly moving through our Cumberland Valley counties as we head through the remainder of tonight. So as we look, keep that WYMT weather app handy through the overnight, because if there are any warnings issued, not anticipating many, but if you do get one, it'll wake you up with the push alert you'll get on the phone. And of course, you always see our forecast and you can track it with interactive radar. Now, I'll have the very latest on when we could see a return to some drier conditions. That's coming up in a few minutes. Steve?
Evan, thank you. We are ending the most emotional and heartbreaking week we've seen in eastern Kentucky in some time. 3 fallen officers were laid to rest Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday in Floyd County. Emily Bennett takes another look back at their lives and legacies.
We haven't seen a tragedy such as this in a very long time.
Not this place, not this town, not this close to home.
As 3 fallen heroes are now in their final resting place.
There'll be no fireworks in town this year.
a community is left holding each other up.
It's when everything starts to slow back down after the funerals are over and the morning rolls around, and Captain Fraser doesn't come in to make his joke and get his cup of coffee, and then when Jake comes on in the evening to come in and make his jokes and talk and bring his laughter and smiles to us.
Just 3 fallen angels in peace where they lay.
Floyd County Deputy William Petrie, a man whose true calling was to serve, never able to step away from helping people.
My guy that I knew I wanted standing with me on every call daily, he knew that I had his back, and we knew that Petrie had everybody's back.
Prestonsburg Police Captain Ralph Frazier, a mentor.
He told me it's not always about black and white, it's about doing what's right.
A school resource officer, father figure to many, and a jokester.
From turning a taser on and throwing it in your cruiser on you, to pepper spraying your drinks. He lit up every room he went in.
Prestonsburg K-9 handler Jacob Chaffins.
He was always smiling.
So much more than one thing. A firefighter, EMT, sergeant in the National Guard, and a police officer.
If you hire me, I'll never leave you. And he didn't.
A man with a fire so bright, it will never fade.
God, I wish they were still here.
All three wearing many hats, but above all, their favorite roles, husbands and fathers.
But he loved his kids. He loved his family. Never doubt the love that he had for each and every one of you all.
But through the grief, their friends and family trying to celebrate the years they did have on this earth.
And he will always be remembered as a hero.
This past week filled with stories.
Ralph could take one statement, twist it around, go talk to the next guy, and next thing you know, you got a mutiny on your hands.
Remembering the men behind the badge.
But I never dreamed, for one, that I'd call him gone, but I knew that whenever he left, I'd call him a hero.
Themselves in a line of fire for you and me.
John 15:13 says, greater love has no man than to lay down his life for his friends.
A love so evident in this selfless sacrifice all three of these men made.
It'll take a long time for the normalcy to come back and for the pain to go away. But I think all three of these men would want us to carry on and not give up.
While folks in Floyd County are continuing to grieve, local agencies have answered the call. Law enforcement, fire, EMS, and dispatch from here in the mountains and even across the state have come to Prestonsburg and Floyd County and picked up patrols and emergency calls to allow Floyd County first responders a bit of relief as they mourn their fallen brothers. Pikeville Police Department's Public Information Officer Tony Kahn says following Scotty Hamilton's death in 2018, there was no question that they would repay the favor and help their fellow officers in their time of need.
They had more important things to do in their mind, and that was with their loved ones, and they got to have time to grieve, and it's going to take a long time. We still aren't over Scotty. Every day we think about him, so we know what it felt like.
Prestonsburg Mayor Les Stapleton says the help the city and county have received is tremendous and wanted to thank everyone for their support and assistance through this tragedy. Doctors are concerned about mental health following last week's shootout in Allen. Doctors say people can suffer from acute stress disorder or PTSD after traumatic events. They say symptoms can improve after a few months.
We do know that getting treatment for this kind of thing drastically improves your results. So a lot of people will just think that the way they're feeling is normal after something like this, and it might be, but that doesn't mean we can't help with it.
Doctors say if you are needing help, do not hesitate to reach out to a specialist. A portion of the HowRogers Parkway remains closed in Clay County tonight. Police say downed power lines are causing a detour near mile marker 20. The two down lines are reportedly live wires. Crews are actively working to cut power to the lines, and there's still no estimated time for the road to reopen. Clay County Dispatch tells us it may be closed through the early morning hours. Driving on Kentucky roads, you may notice the grass looking a little longer, and that's on purpose. The Kentucky Transportation Cabinet says roadsides are being transformed into pollinator habitats. The area closest to the road will still be mowed regularly, but past that 15-foot space, the grass might be longer. KYTC says the goal is to expand pollinator habitats and grow native plants, including colorful wildflowers. Deputies with the Greenup County Sheriff's Office need help finding a man wanted for questioning. Deputies shared this photo Thursday. The man is wanted in connection with a theft case in the county. Anyone with information about the man is asked to call police. Kentucky State Police revealed its newest mascot as part of its 74th birthday celebration. Officials say the bulldog was created by KSB's graphic designer Aaron Tupps and made possible by BAM Mascots Incorporated. It will be used in community outreach initiatives to build relationships across the Commonwealth. The bulldog will visit hospitals with troopers as they deliver trooper teddy bears to terminally ill children. Kentucky Senator Rand Paul is defending his vote against a federal gun reform law. The measure included funding for mental health and school safety. It also restricts who can buy a gun. Senator Paul says the legislation misses the point.
I continue to believe, and we've seen a lot of these shootings, almost every time there seems to be examples where we did not prosecute the individual fully for a previous episode.
Kentucky's other U.S. Senator Mitch McConnell supported the gun reform measure. A new study says only 1 in 10 Gen Zers want a conventional office job. The study, called Looking Forward with Gen Z, found that younger people prioritize work-life balance and they are willing to change career paths to get it. University of Louisville student Krazy Stykov worked on the study. She says more and more Gen Zers are leaving their jobs.
I think people are starting to turn back towards this idea that they really aren't always having the same interests as their employers. And so I think that's why we're seeing things like more people starting to unionize now, more employees, jumping between different jobs because they identify that, okay, this isn't the best fit for me.
The research found those entering the workforce during this time of financial volatility prize 3 things: independence, community, and work that is fulfilling over everything else. The FDA has approved Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine for children ages 12 to 15. The Food and Drug Administration's action today is the first approval for this age group. Now, the vaccine from Pfizer and BioNTech had previously been available for this age group under emergency use authorization. The vaccine has been approved for people over 16 since August of last year. The Pfizer vaccine will still be available to other age groups and under its emergency use authorization. Exercise can have a tremendous benefit for people with chronic kidney disease. A study published in the American Journal of Kidney Diseases found high levels of physical activity lowered the chance of heart attack, stroke, and death for people suffering from kidney disease. Doctors recommend 150 minutes a week of exercise. Folks in Louisa saw a part of the town's history lit up again tonight. A replica of the old Garden Theater marquee was hung and lit on Main Street. The theater first opened in 1921 and was part of the community until 1957. On its 100th anniversary, owners Tim and Leela Robinson commissioned a local design company to build a replica marquee. It was lit for the first time tonight following a performance of the SpongeBob musical. Coming up on Mountain News at 11, one Eastern Kentucky county throws a prom for senior citizens to relive their childhood.
Plus, the possibility continues that we could finally calm things down as we head later into the weekend. Details on that are coming up next.
Hey, I'm returning your stuff. Your motor oil, your paint.